Okay, so you all know that the Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus have great features, but did you know that it also has 2 speakers for surround sound?
2 speakers, huh? Well, I got 2 speakers right here on my Razer phone as well.
Yeah, okay.
And Dolby Atmos surround.
Okay, well the S9 and S9 Plus have Dolby Atmos surround sound too.
Okay, so maybe we should figure out which one of these is better. I think it's the
Okay.
Razer phone.
And I think that it really depends. There are some things that I think that the Razer phone does a lot better, but at the end of the day, I still kind of got to lean toward the Galaxy S9. Luckily for you, we did 4 tests for
You gotta
what,
do
right?
games, it's gotta be movies, it's gotta be music, we gotta do calls. We did them
Absolutely.
all.
So our first test was music. We played a bunch of different songs on both phones. Really wanted to hear a lot of different sounds and to hear how they sounded. Now we had the settings exactly the same on both phones. And Sean, what was your first impression?
It really took me a sec to really figure out what I was hearing out of each because we had the volume issue right away. Immediately we're like, wow, the Samsung phone is louder, which I did not expect because you think big speakers on this thing, small speakers on that thing.
Yeah, little speaker on the bottom,
was
big
not
speaker on
expecting
the
to be
top.
louder, but I didn't like how the S9 sounded at that volume. I was like, it's too loud, it's kind of giving me a bit of distortion at the high end, so we had to pull that down.
I
the first time.
absolutely agree. I got the same thing. It was like, wow, if you want to fill a room with sound, it's going to be the Galaxy S9. But
is
we
it good
really,
sound?
no, we really
I
had to
preferred-
take it down a couple
I preferred
notches.
the flat feeling of this until we took it down. And then I was like, there's more layers in these songs. It sounds like there's more depth, more richness in the S9, which I did not expect either. So for video, we wanted to make sure we could get some atmospheric surround sound, but also just human voices like you'd have talking to you in YouTube video. So we did both Netflix and YouTube for our video test.
Yeah, and I thought what was really interesting is that there is a difference between that Netflix show that we saw that really was immersive, where you need the sound to draw you into the scene, and then the voices that came from some of the YouTube videos, and then just some of the music that was playing as part of the videos too.
Yeah, it was
what did
really
you find?
richer in a large part for voices on the Samsung Galaxy S9, but I really preferred the Razer phone spatialization. You'd have all these elements, all these Foley elements that made you feel like you were really part of a scene. You'd have your raindrops, you'd have your footsteps, the neon sign lighting up.
The rat over in the corner.
You could tell that the rat was in a specific location.
I
in this
agree. I
world.
did notice that too. I think if you didn't have the phone side by side, it wouldn't make a difference. But hearing it on the Razer phone, you definitely got a sense of what the Galaxy S9 lacked there. But I will say that when you're watching something more instructional, or when you're watching an interview with somebody, that the voices came out much louder and clearer. And that scene we were watching somebody screams, that sounded a lot more convincing, like painful, raw on the S9.
Even in the
than it
Netflix
did on the
surround
Razer.
sound scene, I didn't get the surround sound there,
Yeah.
but I did get that guttural Valkyrie kind of scream out of that one
Valkyrie,
lady.
nice.
Yeah?
And for simple games like Super Mario Run, I think it didn't really make much of a difference which phone you were using, and maybe even if you're using stereo speakers at all or not.
Collecting coins, ding ding ding, sounded roughly the same, maybe a little bit different, but not better.
Sounded like
either of
coins.
these. It sounded like coins.
Yeah, but then I think when we moved along into the more advanced game like
Yeah,
Riptide
we're playing some
Renegade.
Riptide GP Renegade. We've got our little wave race thing going. I thought the splashing water sounded a lot more three-dimensional on the Galaxy S9.
I was right there with you, and I thought that it was a little bit more suppressed.
A little bit muted on the Razer phone. So we're kind of in agreement there, but where we
But they were still pretty close.
it's still fairly close. Like, I wouldn't pick one over the other because for both of these games, the sound doesn't really matter. You might play them with the audio off anyhow. For a game like PUBG, though, where you've got people hunting each other on an island,
little bit
and you've
more
got
intense
gunshots all
there.
around you,
Yeah.
and you're trying to survive. A lot of people use headphones for that game anyhow. And on the Razer phone, it sounded much more three-dimensional, much more sounds around me, so I could tell where things were coming from. I couldn't do that with the S9.
So at the end of the day, I mean, if you're somebody who's serious about playing games, then the Razer phone is definitely going to take that one home for you. But I think that on the Galaxy S9, if you're still comparing it between a phone that has stereo speakers or not, it's still going to be a better choice.
But one last thing, you can block the speaker on the S9.
Yes.
And so you gotta watch out for that. If you're playing games in landscape mode, you might block the speaker.
That's a really good point. Yeah, whereas the Razer phone is definitely a gamer's phone.
This giant frog, and it was still alive, so it was wriggling around.
One more thing you might use speakers for, how about speakerphone calls?
So to test this on both phones, we use the exact same SIM card, same network, and even the
T-Mobile.
same caller.
And what we found out right away was that the Razer phone wasn't loud enough. Immediately, we were like, we gotta boost up this volume. Thankfully, there was a little volume boost button, but then we noticed it was a little bit muffled.
Yeah, I actually said that it sounded like somebody was holding a pillow over the face of the person we were speaking to.
A little bit.
Which is a little bit alarming, but this person sounded pretty distant and very muffled but not garbled.
So we thought Razer phone, maybe it's not going to be as good as the S9. So we went over to the S9.
And it was 100 times worse. It had all of the volume, total distortion, and I think you actually called it garbage.
It sounded like garbage. It sounded like hot garbage on the line. There were all these things in the background that we could hear over the line. They were being amplified by the phone, little pops and quirks and things like that.
Yeah,
Not
a lot
very
of
good.
audio artifacts. And then when we actually boosted the volume, it just amplified all of the problems. So I would say for me, Razer phone wins, and try never to use the speakerphone on the Galaxy S9 unless you absolutely must. So we've tested them out, but at the end of the day, we have to make a decision. Sean?
I gotta say, for the games and the movies, the Razer phone is my pick. Even if it doesn't have the audio quality from music, it's got almost everything I want in speakers, just maybe not everything I'd want in a phone.
I think that if you're not a big gamer and you listen to a lot of music, the Galaxy S9 definitely is the better choice because it gives you that richer sound and it gives you that depth. I think at the end of the day, you know, the Galaxy S9 is the phone that most people are going to hear of, and it shows that Samsung's got a little bit more work to do because the Razer phone definitely wins in some categories.
Yeah,